Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina. This is Lifting Pins and Needles, a channel all about sewing. And first I want to thank all your lovely comments on my last video where I shared what I was actually feeling these last couple of days about the compromise of my Sewjo. And I want to reassure you all that I am not going anywhere. When I say I want a break, it sometimes means just a change of activity. So sometimes you go on holiday, and holiday can be like the next town. It's just that you've changed where you are currently. You've changed, your surroundings and what you're doing and your routine. And that is what I sort of need to do for my sewing at this point. I want to sew. I just at this moment, I'm not trying to make new patterns and make super hard decisions in my sewing. I've said before, sometimes matching a pattern to fabric comes really natural and just depends on what I'm feeling on the day, if I'm super inspired. But when I'm feeling like I am now, that can be a very long process and it can be super draining for me to try to match a pattern to a fabric, make decisions, choose a size, check for fit. All the routine things, activities that I do before I even cut the fabric, because I show that to you in my up close and so personal videos. That is the part that got me. That is the part that I'm feeling exhausted with. So I am super motivated to repeat and to revisit things I have sewn this year that I've loved, even things I've sewn last year that I have loved. I have the patterns there in my little neat storage cardboard box that I showed you, and that's been really helpful to have them there, to revisit them, to organize them, because it's just given me new ideas to do things now. I'm going to have a few relaxing sews where I don't have to think much. I just need to choose pretty fabric that I know will go with these patterns I've already made. I don't have to fit them or do anything other things I already wanted to do. Like a certain top, I really want to make it into a dress, and then lengthening it won't be an issue, You can expect to see a few repeat garments during this week. These garments are all easy to make, easy to sew. They don't take me long to make because I already know the whole process around them. I'm not looking at instructions. I know the techniques I have to use. So they'll be very enjoyable, relaxing sews for me. And the types of videos I will show you during this week are going to be the more show and tell, where I'm not going to be reviewing the pattern because I've already done that on the channel, and any sewing aspect is already on the channel. But I will have inspiration for you in the way of beautiful fabric, different lengths maybe, and just tiny changes I've decided to do. So I'm just letting you know. And the two garments I want to show you today, I made last week, and I made them actually on the same day I made other items, and that's why some of these fabrics match. And it was sort of intentional. I had the fabric and I wanted to make two garments out of the fabric. At the beginning of the year, I made the lyric dress from Love Notions. It's a really nice dress, fitted with bust darts and waist darts. It's got lovely shaping, V-neck line with buttons, a button-down dress. And then it has a separate skirt piece that is A-lined, and it's just got the right amount of fullness that I need. It's a flowy skirt, it's not a full skirt, it's an A-line skirt. I would say it's a quarter circle skirt tops in the fullness department. About the lyric dress from Love Notions, I won't go into depths about the pattern itself. I have a full video review with construction and sewing footage on the channel that I have posted a few months ago, so you can see that if you want to have a bit more detail, a bit more information. In this video, I want to focus on how this pattern can go even further for your wardrobe, and for periods like this, I'm finding it mega useful for a period like this when I'm feeling a bit more tired. Remember that there is a Love Notions sale site-wide through the 9th through Friday, where all the patterns are 25% off. Let's see, there's lots of aspects here. One, it's a pattern I know I love and it fits. Two, I like making good use of patterns. So if a pattern comes with a bodice and a separate skirt, you can always use the skirt pieces to just make a skirt, right? And then you can just throw a waistband on the top, and it's going to fit, and you know how the skirt already falls and drapes on you. So if you know that you like that, it can totally be a separate. Three, it's a really easy sew, basically like just a few straight seams. 4 or 5, I'm not sure now, 1 yard of fabric. I mean, 1 yard of fabric for a skirt is pretty good in my books. You know, I try to use at least amount humanly possible for really nice results, and to be able to get a skirt out of that amount for me is just the best. So I've got a little clip to show you how I placed my pattern pieces to get my skirt out of a yard of fabric that I'm going to show you now.
Don't you think this is starting to wear on me? You've been raining down like hail. I'm weak. I have tried to give you my soul, but you can't love something you own. It's too late.
These are the skirt pieces of the lyric dress that I've placed on my fabric. This is the front, it's a bit wider, and I've placed it right on the edge of the selvage, and that is what it's going to be folded in to allow for the crossover and the buttons going up and down. And the back here is on the fold. This is non-directional print, so I can place one in one direction and one on the other. By doing this on the size 14, I can make it from folded edge to selvage with no space in between there. Like, I'm gonna cut right there, and I can do this in a yard. There you can see exactly that 90 centimeters. I can have a really nice A-line skirt that is gonna hit me at the knee. My skirt length will be 59 centimeters. In inches, that is 23.2 inches. And that allows for about a 2 centimeter hem or 3, and it'll hit just at the knee. From this area there and there, I will piece together a long strip for a waistband. The waistband will not be so wide. I want my finished waistband to be only 1 inch wide. To have a finished waistband that is 1 inch wide, I need to cut strips of 3 inches wide by the length of the waist piece around the top of the skirt. So I can definitely get this out of that area there and this area. If I piece it, it is print, no one's going to see those seam lines that are going to make up a waistband. Now, if you hate doing that with waistbands, then instead of needing 90 centimeters, you would probably need 1 meter so that you could get the strip of uninterrupted without seams waistband from down there. But actually, I had this piece of fabric, I'm going to make it work. If I had 1 meter, that's fine, I would do the normal waistband. I'm never against a pieced waistband because I don't usually tuck anything in. No one ever sees my waistband. And if I show the garment to someone, the seam lines will be hidden within the print. Now, I have to point out that this is a size 14 and it fits from fold to selvage. It fits all the way across with no room in the middle. You saw that. So if you are sewing a size larger, you can always shift the pattern pieces in a non-directional way. You know, I place one on one direction and one on the other. You can always shift them apart a little bit until your side seams match, and you're still going to save fabric rather than just putting one on one length, like the front on one length of fabric and then the back on another length of fabric, which then makes you use double the amount. So just a few tips there. So I'm going to show you the first one. It's made out of a rayon or a viscose, if you like to call it like that. You have already seen this fabric before in a top I've shown last week, and now I have a skirt. And because I always knew I wanted to wear them together or not, I used the exact same buttons that I used for the top. So they are made out of wood. I have a bag with like 100 or 200 buttons. My husband got them for me in bulk when he went to Bolivia once in a market. So you're going to be seeing a lot of those buttons. And it's a really nice length. This one has just been serged and folded up and sewn. It's really neat. And I'll turn this inside out so you can see. Inside it's very simple. It's just been serged. There is an area that has been interfaced, so that's interfaced in there. And then it's just been sewn down, top stitched. You can see that top stitching there. So it's very neat, very simple. Making this skirt took me no time at all. It was very satisfying to make, very easy. and I just love the result. Now, this is just a rectangle waistband. It's not curved or anything. I did try and convince myself to draft one. I know how to draft that, and I've got some tutorials on the channel about that if you want to check that out. But those types of techniques take a little bit more motivation and a bit more time, and you know what my issue has been lately. So a rectangle waistband is fine as long as it's not a really thick waistband. So if you do a really like thick waistband, like 2 inches or more, I think those create more fitting issues than if it's just a narrow waistband that's like 1 inch wide. So to draft a rectangle waistband, the ones that I do for all the skirts that you're going to see, it's basically 3 inches, and then the length is whatever you need at the top for the waist. So that can vary for whatever size that you need to make. So when you have 3 inches there, when you fold that in half, and then you take away on each end a 3/8 of an inch for seam allowance, then you end up with this width, which is like 1.25 inches. That what you can see there. I interface the whole thing, like the whole strip of fabric. I don't interface half, I just interface the whole thing, and it gives a really nice sturdy result. And inside it's been folded up the same as on there and top stitched. Side seam serged together, no drama, super easy skirt. When you have a print like this, actually the skirt style can be really simple like this one. Here you can see my skirt on with the matching top in the same fabric. It's like a fake dress. It's really not a dress. You can sort of see the waistband there, and the swish of this skirt is amazing. Now, because I want it to look like a dress, I've got the same matching buttons, you know, and yeah, the fit of the skirt, I already know it's good because I've already made the dress. Now, if I feel like eating or whatever, or I just want to feel more comfortable, I can just untuck the top and have a more casual look, which is okay with this type of skirt because it's not a full skirt, so you can have sort of like a looser crop top on top. I think it's okay. You saw in the lookbook how many options I have to pair this with. I mean, with all the colors on the skirt, I can use solids on top. And if I went like on a holiday, I could take this and then like two or three tops and have a bunch of different outfits. So I'm extremely happy with this one. In Brazil, there's actually lots of shoe companies that make them, like they're made in Brazil. It says everywhere, made in Brazil. Really good quality and really nice shoes. And these pair together perfectly. I made 2 skirts on the same day. This was early last week. And the next one is not made in Rayon, and so the look of the skirt is a little bit different, although the pattern is exactly the same. Exactly the same waistband, this hem, the length, the construction, it is all exactly the same. So this is the one I showed you on the layout, only I had the fabric inside out. It's a linen with a print, and it's very feminine, very girly. It's got these types of colors with a beige background. I got this piece of fabric in Bolivia in one of the street markets where a vendor would just set up these big bags on the street, and you had to like throw yourself into a pile of fabric and fight for the fabric with the locals. It was, yeah, those times I sort of miss because the excitement of going to that market, not knowing if you're going to find treasures, was so real. Like I would be on that little car getting off and running to the corner of the market, and my heart would be beating with the excitement of, am I going to find something amazing? Because sometimes I found absolutely nothing, and sometimes I came home with these huge bags of fabric, you know. And the man that was there, Claudio, he knew me, and sometimes he had fabrics that he'd sort of know were my style, and he'd be like, hey, come over here. And so, you know, it was really fun. This is where I got this yard of fabric. It was just over a yard, And it was just enough to get this. And the waistband, I had to piece. The waistband is pieced, so there's a center back seam on the waistband and another one there and another one there. But because of the print, you can't tell. No one is going to know that my waistband is made out of 4 pieces. Same width, same measurements I gave you before, 3 inches by the length it takes to go around, plus a little bit of seam allowance there so that you can do that finishing there. So that all varies. And inside it's the same. The only difference is because this fabric is thicker, I serged and pressed the seams open. I think it lies nicer that way. And it's the same. This has been interfaced, serged and folded and top stitched on the right side. I have used beige colored buttons that I found in my stash that really blend. You can't barely see the buttons. If I go and source more buttons locally when I go next, I'm going to be looking for some brown buttons or any type of button that matches, that will be more like pop up more. I think buttons are always a nice feature to have, not hidden but sort of more highlighted. But for now I have those because it matches and I wanted to finish the skirt. I've really been enjoying buttonholes and buttons lately. I find really cool to just sit down and sew on a bunch of buttons. It like calms me down, you know. The hem of this skirt is done by machine. I could use several colors of the ones there in the print to have different looking outfits with this same skirt. Here you can see it with a green top, not tucked in. I will just tuck the front in so you can see the waistband. You can see how different the skirt falls and looks. It's a bit stiffer, but still has a really nice shape and a nice drape. I think it moves really nice. The buttons, as I said, sort of blend in and I would like them to be highlighted. I drafted this to have a roomy waist. I don't like having really tight waistbands that like feel uncomfortable.
Don't you think this is starting to wear on me? You've been raining down like hail. I'm weak. I have tried to give you my soul, but you can't love something you own. It's too late to repair what we.
This is not the last skirt I make from the lyric dress pattern from Love Notions. Very soon you're going to see a third one, but it's much more special with other techniques and other things. It's just other things that also was a simple make, but with a big visual impact. So you'll see that, I think, probably on Friday, but if you follow me on Instagram at Lifting Pins and Needles, you will see that sooner because I'll be posting a pic of that skirt there sooner. But I want to do it in a separate video because there is a cutting out component that I'm going to show you some more footage and I didn't want this video to be that long. So look out for that. For those of you wondering how the Mega Artesanal went, the big craft expo that I went to, it was awesome. We went with my son. He coped much better than I thought he would. He was a good sport, great actually. Walked around with me all day. He also took a backpack to help me carry some things. I didn't end up buying that many things. I mainly bought some sewing tools and gadgets that I needed, and I think I bought 3 or 4 pieces of fabric. They're outside drying because I've washed them. And actually one of these cuts of fabric has inspired me so much that I washed it this morning. I hung it just a little while, and then I ironed it. With my iron in the hot setting, I dried it that way, and I've already cut it out and I'm gonna sew it like later on because I was so inspired by the fabric. I just want to have it. I want to have it. And it's also a project, like I mentioned before, that is something I've already made. I know the fit, I know everything. I just need to make it. And this is how I'm getting back that spark. This is things I'm doing because actually I do want to sew. I just want to do it in a different way for a little while. Don't you worry. All the creative things are going to be returning very soon because I've already started dreaming about them. And when I start dreaming about creative things, it means that there's something going on in my mind that is really positive towards that. If you already have the lyric dress pattern, here is another idea for you that you can use the pattern to make it go further. If you still haven't got the lyric dress, this might be another reason why you might want to, because apart from having an amazing dress with cup sizes and everything, you can also have an amazing skirt if you want like a really nice satisfying make in a special fabric. My affiliate link for Love Notions is always in my description box down below if you click there. If you are enjoying the thrice weekly content on this channel, consider spending a bit more time watching a video here, watching another one there, and I will see you very soon. Bye!